So who talks first? You talk first? I talk first?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Talks First. I am one of your hosts. I'm CT.
And I'm Solo.
And we are back from my vacation.
Yeah, you're back. I never left.
But I got a noise complaint, or we got a noise complaint, but it was for me when I was gone for 2 weeks.
Specifically for you. And I was like, well, she ain't home, so it ain't her.
Yeah, so just a funny story from our vacation. We got a note from our neighbor who I share a wall with. Only I share a wall with, saying that I was like waking them up at like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was like just driving them insane. And I'm like, well, I haven't been here for 2 weeks.
I was like, funny story, because she wrote the note and slapped it on our door, so I wrote a note and slapped it on her door, and I was like, funny story. She hasn't been home for 2 weeks, so it's not her.
It's really quite impossible. But I think they did fix our air conditioner.
That's nice.
So if we got anything from that, we got our air conditioner fixed.
a quieter air conditioner.
Indeed. So, last podcast, we covered the Vanity Fair spread for Last Jedi, which, man, was that a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And that actually is our most listened to podcast on SoundCloud, at least.
Yep, because you never uploaded it to YouTube, did you?
I didn't, no.
Sorry, YouTube.
You're getting it eventually, I promise, because it's a doozy. Dude, and I recorded it at my boyfriend's house, so we weren't together when we recorded that because I was still gone.
Right.
His recording stuff, I know he does sound stuff, so that's what he does.
You're right.
But I sounded so high quality. I'm like listening to this, I'm like, damn.
You're like, I sound so good. Solo sounds like they're recorded through Skype, though.
I think it made us sound professional because it seemed like we knew what we were doing technology-wise.
Oh.
Sort of. Maybe.
Wow.
But Matt said we can hook up to have guests on the show, so we can actually have Skype-in guests soon.
Can we?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Matt said he could figure it out.
Okay.
So that's a thing to look forward to. But I'm sure we'll talk more about the Vanity Fair stuff in the future. But in the meantime, we're gonna not talk about something Star Wars, and it's been a while since we've done something else.
We've done this plenty of times before. It's just been a while, so we're gonna talk about something else.
We're gonna talk about Wonder Woman.
We're gonna talk about Wonder Woman.
It was
Sorry
so
if you
good.
don't want to hear about Wonder Woman, but we want to talk about it.
So we'll do a little bit of a spoiler-free review, but it's gonna be like 10 seconds because
Spoiler free. I loved it.
It was great. Go see it.
Please support it.
I will say, because, like, obviously, I think representation is very important in films, and I think but this is, like, the first movie that I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, of course there's characters like Rey, who I'm like, I love her, and she's great, I'm gonna buy stuff of her, but Wonder Woman was the first character that I was like, I can do anything because of Wonder Woman.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Like, I felt so powerful afterwards. I'm, like, walking out of places, ready to get on a horse, and...
Lasso someone.
Like, everyone deserves to have that feeling, because, man, there's really great female characters these days, but that was honestly the first time where I cried because I was like, oh my god.
I cried so much during that movie, and I couldn't place why the first time. I was just like, I'm feeling really overwhelmed right now, and I'm just crying, and the girl next to me, who I didn't know at all, really, was also, like, I heard her, like, sniff, and I wanted to be like, so you too? It's not just me right now?
This movie is very good.
And then I found out that there's just articles written everywhere about, like, why women are crying during Wonder Woman fight scenes, and I was like, oh.
And this was honestly, I know you like the Dark Knight trilogy, I didn't, so this is the first DC movie I've ever liked, besides my favorite movie, The Killing Joke.
Oh my god, I'll killing joke you right now.
That was so smart.
Yep.
That was a good comeback.
I was gonna make other puns, and then I was like, these sound super violent.
Yeah, no, that was a really bad movie, but this is literally the DC movie, at least since, like, the new DC, So, okay, I'm gonna interrupt this story, because I just think it's so funny. For some reason,
We've talked about this before.
But I have this thing on my computer that's called Luke Filewalker that just appears, and I don't know what it does.
Nope.
But it just makes me laugh, and it just popped up, so...
It was like, hey, I'm doing some stuff.
Good job, Luke Filewalker. But whatever I was talking about before with Wonder Woman, it's like just the first DC movie I've ever liked.
Like,
and
I've said
since
that...
the, like, DC movie, like, reboot. Like, I've liked Batman movies in the past because I like stupid
Right.
movies. I like the campy ones.
But I do think it's the best one that they've made since The Dark Knight. Even though The Dark Knight, for me, I liked it, they're not people adore them, and they did do a lot for, like, the DCU. It's why they were like, let's start making more of these movies, that and Marvel. But they were like, oh, look how good these did. And then they just tried to ride that Dark Knight train forever. Every movie was a Dark Knight movie, even if it was a Superman movie.
And that's like the part that bugged
awful.
me. And like again, with Batman, I can see making it more darky and edgy. It's just like that's not my sort of movie. So I'm not saying they're bad overall. I'm like,
It's also not my Batman.
Yeah.
My Batman has a Robin.
That's what are you talking about, George Gordon-Levitt?
My Batman needs to have a Robin there for the humanity. Because otherwise you just have this dark monster.
No, I agree with you.
He's
completely.
supposed to be a man down there.
And that's why I just
Right.
can't, like, I just can't appreciate the movies. Or I should say...
They're not your movies. They're very violent. They're very dark.
They're definitely not for me. I like really campy, cheesy things. And, like, that have, like, heart and love at, like, the center of it, which I was like, Wonder Woman.
Yeah, like, Wonder Woman was epic and had these awesome action scenes, but still felt so inspiring during it. And I was like, oh my god.
So, I think...
We have to go into spoilers.
We have to go
now.
into the spoiler review. So, to cap the non-spoiler review, it's good. Go see it.
I've seen it twice. It's worth seeing a million times.
I will... I hate going to the movie theaters. I mean, we've talked about this a million times, but I already want to see it again. Because
I want it so
it was
bad.
so good. So, Shoe Fly, don't bother me, and now we're going to talk about spoilers.
Spoilers. Should we try to do this chronologically? Or
Yeah,
no?
let's start in the beginning. Something that, okay, like, so we start off on the
island.
Island. Themyscira?
Themyscira.
Themyscira?
Themyscira.
All right. Nailed it. Themyscira. That's the name of the island. And actually something that surprised me is how small of a part, I'll just call her Princess Buttercup, because she was so, at least in fan reactions, so pushed as like this major character. Like she was definitely super cool, but she was only in 20 minutes of the movie
I
before
think it's just because she's so
kapowed.
Like, I cry when she dies because she's I loved her.
I'll probably cry the next time because the first time I'm like, oh, she's not gonna die. She was gonna like one of the main characters, and then she did. I'm like,
What?
everyone was talking about how. Also, I love this movie because how cool is it that like, I mean, you have Wonder Woman who's obviously like a younger woman, but you have like the Amazons who are all like
Different
the Amazon
ages.
Queen and
Yep.
like the General who are a bit older.
Yep.
And they don't look any like more fragile because of it. They're just like actually stronger looking. I'm like,
Yeah, no, they look like they've seen shit, especially our general. I'm like, Ethiopia?
Apiope? I thought it was an ape. I thought it was like antelope, but it looks like Antiope. I think that's it. I think it's something like that.
Ethiopia? I don't know.
Princess Buttercup.
Princess Buttercup. I also feel like each character, because kind of everyone has a slightly different accent on the island, that I'm like, I don't know which one is the right way to say her name, but she looks so strong.
They look mature and they've gone through stuff, and I love it.
Did you know that, like, all the Amazons are, like, either professional bodybuilders or they're like
I saw the
equestrian riders and stuff like that. They're like they just pulled actual people, and I was like, I love this.
And so I was surprised that Princess Buttercup died as early as she did, because again with promotion,
I think it's just
Hippolyta.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I was surprised that I'm like, oh, she's gonna be the one that dies, because I mean, and she ended up being...
She's the one with the pop figure.
Is she? Mm-hmm. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
But did you see that Bodhi got a pop figure?
I did.
One?
But it's gonna be San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
Oh, is it San Diego Comic-Con exclusive?
Yep. So I'm never gonna get a Bodhi Rook pop figure. Anyway, back to Wonder Woman.
Yeah. I just thought you would make sure you know that Bodhi was gonna get a pop.
I got really upset.
But just from what I saw online, I was surprised that Hippolyta was actually a more major character.
I think just fans latched onto it because of Princess Bride, right?
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
Buttercup's from?
Yeah.
I think fans just latched onto her because of that. while the other actress I feel like I've seen before, but I can't place her.
That's true. I don't know either. I want to cosplay Amazon. Can we be really bulky? Except for I don't think it's possible for me.
I really want to.
Let's do it one day.
Okay, one day.
It'd be
well,
really cool.
it's okay if we do it when we're older. We'll look more like Amazons then.
That's true. Thank you for giving us cosplays when we're older.
Yep.
Thank you for that. So Steve Trevor then arrives on the island after Diana first shows her, like, God's guilt. And I'm not sure if they were, like, trying to keep that really secret from her. Because her mom full up says, "You're not an Amazon," like, to her. And she just kind of, like, walked away.
But she doesn't say that till after.
Not after well, Diana still doesn't know she's a god.
Right, but she only says you're not an Amazon when Diana tries to leave the island, right? She's like, it's an Amazon's duty, and she's like, you're not an Amazon.
No, not when she's leaving the island. It's not then. It's I forgot where
Is
exactly.
it when she's little?
No, she is older, but it's daytime and they're walking somewhere. I just remember that, and I'm like, okay, Diana she just missed that.
Well, I think Diana always kind of thought that she was just half Amazon because she ages and she's a child. I don't know. I think Diana in this, because movieverse is different from comics.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely not gonna, like, fault the movie for this, but I was wondering just for us, it was like, so was her being a god supposed to be a twist or no? Because, like, they full out just said, "You're not an Amazon," and Diana was like, "Okay, all right." Oh, and we'll walk away now.
Yep.
Something I do appreciate about this, because that could have been dangerous territory, which I'm glad that we had a female director. Mm-hmm. Like, having the man come to the island of all women.
Yep.
And
it could have been so bad. Everything with Steve Trevor could have been awful, but instead
it was
good the entire time. And I walked into it being like, I'm probably not gonna like any of this Steve Trevor nonsense, but at the end I
loved him.
Oh.
And so this movie was spoiled for me, thanks Tumblr, but I mean, my own fault. I went on Tumblr. Don't expect good things.
Your fault for existing.
Yeah. So I knew that Lupin, I just will never know their real names, just their other character names. I somewhat knew he was the villain. I read a post somewhere about, like, the horrible mustache on Ares.
Which I had no idea.
Yeah.
What a twist.
So I only figured it out, like, well, one, I'm like, this is a really famous actor, like a really well-respected actor. There's no way he's this small of a role. And then I'm like, oh, no, because he's the bad guy. There we go. And then I knew that Steve Trevor died, which, I mean, that one wasn't a huge shock, because, you know, they're back in time.
Yeah,
and
because that one is very Captain America, where you're like, well, they fell in love when he was this old, and XYZ, he's gonna have to be dead.
There was, like, the little part of me, I'm like, I know he has to die, and it's better this way, but can't Charlie have his, like, moment in the sun where he's not afraid to shoot anymore, go and be the one on the plane, and not Steve? Like, it was definitely way better with Steve being the one who did it, but maybe, like, no, let Diana and Steve have
more
their day
time
in the sun.
Nope.
He only had a few days. Anyway, back in time. So how they handled Steve's character was really good.
I really like Steve.
Yeah.
And I read this huge article about Steve and, like, a reflection and, like, just them talking about Steve Trevor as a character. And the entire time it's gonna get super feminist up on here, but every time where she's like, are you an average example of, like, men or whatever, he's like, no, I'm above average. And he's always, every time he talks about his own masculinity, it's coming from a place of insecurity in himself, and, like, how because he's got this toxic masculinity thrown on him. So like, when she's like, oh, you're a man, and he's like, don't I look like one? And he's, like, insecure about it. And every single time it's always, like, his own insecurity. The Amazons and, like, Diana are not thrusting this upon this. This is something he's been carrying for a long time. And it's, like, it's fun to see that. And it's not, like, in a, like, it's, a lot of attention isn't brought to it. It doesn't make Steve feel like an asshole. But he's, like, he just feels like an actual man who's maybe slightly insecure with himself. And it's fun to see a hero who's, like, kind of thrown off like by that. I don't know. I really like Steve. I
definitely appreciated a lot of the subtleties when it came to their, like, messages like that, but especially when Diana gets off the island and she just doesn't understand why women can't do these things.
Yeah.
They don't make this huge show of it. It's more just like how it's like, you guys are idiots.
Yeah.
And it's just this nice kind of insight into it without making it this huge,
like, feminist rant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's just super subtle and makes you, like, actually be like, oh, yeah, I totally agree with Diana.
Yeah, Diana, she's so pure, so good.
She's everything that I want to be.
Yeah. And just to talk about it, because going in chronological order, so they're, like, getting off the island. Oh, well, first we'll talk about...
Oh, the fight scene on the beach.
Ah!
I don't like action movies, but this was awesome. I think I just don't like action movies from the male perspective.
I think so. I'm sorry, but...
Because I loved Wonder Woman, and when I went and saw it, there was also a trailer for Atomic Blondie, which is the new Charlize Theron, like, action movie that's coming out.
I've never heard of it.
I only saw it there, when the first time I saw Wonder Woman, and I was like, this movie looks awesome! And I'm like, why does this movie look so good to me? I don't like action movies. Is it just because it's got, like, a female lead? And, wow, this looks really cool.
Yeah, they're like, is this how men have felt the entire time?
It must be. We must be feeling what most men feel as young kids when they first go to, like, cool movies, cool action movies. Because I'm like, oh, this is what an action movie can be when it's not just... For me, action movies are like, here's the guy, I'm here, here's an ass shot, I'm gonna have sex with this girl now I'm gonna go blow up a car, action movie, and I'm like, oh, that's fucking lame.
Yeah, because, like, action movies pretty standardly bore me, because there's not a lot of, like, character...
There's not a lot of narrative.
Stuff in there.
And there's definitely not a lot of, like, love. There's
not
sex.
a lot of love and compassion. It's a lot of, like, anger and revenge and... very surface level emotions.
Yeah.
So, like, I never feel attached. I'm sure there's obviously exceptions to
Oh yeah,
these
I'm sure
rules,
there's absolutely.
but for the most part, like,
I'm like, this is just gonna be a bunch of stuff blowing up.
Cool. Got it. So seeing all these, like, Amazon women, like, fighting on the beach, it was such a cool fight scene. And then the S.H.I.E.L.D. callback when...
Isn't it so sweet?
And I'm like, so... This is, another reason why I love Steve Trevor, where he obviously paid attention to how her people were fighting.
And, like, that must have meant that he had mad respect for them.
Yeah. It's like, I've got mad respect for you, and I also know that you're the one that's going to be able to handle this stuff.
And I know that you can handle yourself. I don't gotta worry about you.
Oh, wait. Like, your aunt was able to do this thing when they had... I'm like, oh, but we can do this for you, so...
Yep.
Like, I think that was, like, the moment that I started crying during No Man's Land.
Oh, yeah. No.
That was...
I cry a little bit on the beach, but No Man's Land always gets me. I started crying the second she got down into the trenches. I don't know if you saw me. I went like... and I grabbed the armrest. I was like, here it comes, because this scene's about to be amazing.
When... I think I started, like, sobbing when they're, like, shooting at her shield, and she's, like, going down... It's such a nice shot, but she's, like, going down, like, with it to, like, hide herself behind the shield, and that's when I'm like... Whew. Is this how I could have felt my whole life?
Right?
I feel so confident now.
Yep.
Even though I'm breaking down sobbing. But...
Tears aren't a weakness, Courtney.
They're a strength. But... Back and forth, so they're leaving the island.
Yes.
We're trying to be chronological.
We're trying.
Knights of Rant, guys. We just have to keep reminding you that that's who we are. They're leaving the island, and I saw a few articles talking about how the Amazons are, like, sexless beings, when very clearly...
They're not. They definitely aren't. They talk about how they don't need a man for sex.
Like, that's the full-on joke, because, like, well, men are necessary for reproduction, but they're not necessary for pleasure.
Bam!
That's all you need to hear to...
They are definitely having sex on that island, guys.
Just, there you go.
And they don't feel ashamed about it, because nobody's taught them shame.
And also, it's like, there's only women there.
Right.
Like, what would they have any shame to feel about?
They're like, hey, we just fought long and hard today. Want to have some sex to blow off some more steam? Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. And then Steve was very accepting. He was just like,
okay.
Oh.
He was like, crap, we're not needed.
He was like, oh crap. No, she figured it out.
Oh, God.
We're just needed for reproduction. So, again, we talked a little bit about how, like, Diana in the human world, and that she just doesn't understand why the, like, women are in
I
there.
love when she pulls up to London and she looks around and she's like, it's hideous. And I'm like, yep, I'm glad.
It's
It's
hideous.
She's like, I was like, that's fucking funny.
Yep.
Because she lives on this paradise island. She comes back to the world of men and we've destroyed it.
It's just gross.
And I'm like, oh yeah.
Chris Pine said, it's not for
Let's
everyone.
go back to using coal, huh?
It was very interesting that, I mean, obviously Chris Pine was American, but they only really talk about him being...
He's a British intelligence.
British intelligence. And I loved Chris Pine's casting, so it's not like, or he didn't need to have an accent. Maybe he tried the accent and he's like, don't do it.
Maybe he's supposed to be an American insurgent, like working with the
I'm
British.
not sure if they ever mentioned
I don't
it,
know.
because I feel like they didn't.
I never heard America mentioned once.
Yeah.
Besides when Chief talks about his people getting killed by Steve Trevor's people. That's Americans.
Okay, there you go.
So maybe that was...
Well, technically it's British colonists.
Yeah, yeah.
Was Steve Trevor really British? Well, his German accent was very good.
It was.
Good job, Chris Pine.
Yep.
You, like, at the end of the podcast, I think we should rate the Chris's, because that's the hardest thing. I can't do it.
Oh, I can do it. Absolutely.
All right. Then
I'm immediately like, oh, I can do it.
Oh, I can't rate.
Just the 3?
No, 4.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Hemsworth,
4, yeah.
Yeah, Pine, Captain America, and Guardians of the Galaxy. There.
I almost said Steve Trevor, and I was like,
I did
that's
too.
not
I'm
Chris.
like, I'm confused.
We'll do it afterwards.
Yeah, but afterwards because, I mean, I'm in love with Chris Pine. So, because there was the twist with who the real villain was,
Yes.
and also shout out female villain.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
there was, like,
it's
two
fair.
male villains.
It's
but,
Wonder Woman, so Wonder Woman just does have a lot of female
Yeah.
villains. But
But-
I'm glad.
Because I think that's one of, like, the first, at least, prominent ones we've seen.
Yes. Besides, like, Guardians with Nebula. But, like,
Yeah. Nebula has redeemed herself-ish.
yeah.
I like Nebula.
Yeah, no, I don't think... Hold on, let me think of, like, the Marvel movies. I don't think we've gotten anyone that, like, stayed a villain or died a villain that was female. Oh, I'm thinking Marvel. Because now we were talking about the Chris's.
Yeah.
In Man of Steel, there was...
Okay, I did not see Man of Steel.
Yes, there was one of the... what are they called? The Kryptonians.
Yep. I did not see that movie.
She was one of the few redeeming things about that movie, because I was like, she's hot and kicking ass. I like her, but...
There you go. But let's talk in depth about No Man's Land, because I actually heard that scene was supposed to be cut from the film originally.
Oh my god. If that would have been cut, it would have been awful. That's like my favorite scene in the entire movie.
And I feel like it drives so much of especially with the village being destroyed afterwards and her doing all of this for basically nothing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a huge turning, like, point for her. So
It's a huge growth.
I don't know how true that is.
And
I
between
just heard
her and, like, her crew, basically. It's when they, like, the other guys learn that they can, like, just trust Diana to take care of themselves. Like, Steve knew. But then they all know, like, Diana can take care of herself. We don't have to worry about her. We need to focus on what we need to do and trust that she has our back.
And she was just like, I'm gonna go out and take all the bullets from everybody, and then you guys
Yep. She's
go
like,
on.
yeah, maybe you guys can go on, but I'm gonna save this village because there are innocent people being slaughtered, and I can't turn my back on that anymore.
Oh, and that was just such a cool, beautiful scene.
I loved
oh my
it so
god.
much.
And, I mean, very heartbreaking, because then they go to the gala with the Germans, and it gets destroyed anyway. So, and that's just such a sad moment, because Diana just has so much, like, hope.
She just wanted to, like, save everyone.
And, like, she truly believes that if, like, Steve would have let her kill...
Ludendorff? Ludendorff.
I'm really bad at all of these names. You should know something about our podcast. We very rarely have notes, and when we do, they're scribbled down on my iPad. Not even written down. Like, I have an iPen that I write it down with.
Handwrite it. Ludendorff. Because I was like, what a silly sounding name, because to me, it sounds like Ludenberg and Rudolph all rolled together.
Sounds like a Muppet, to be honest. I'm German. I can say these things, right? About German last names. But yeah, so I gonna feel bad with all of these character names. I'm like, well then, Lupin did this, and Princess
movie are we
Buttercup
in?
did this, and then the man from Princess Diaries too. But
It's okay.
I know Steve Trevor's name, but
If people listening to this are at the same level where they've only seen the movie like once or twice, they probably also don't know the names, right, guys? Right?
also I'm very bad at pronouncing things. Hippolyta, right? Hippolyta.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Diana.
Yep.
Nailed it.
Themyscira.
No, that. No, not that one's not happening. The mascara. That's, I think, close enough.
Don't call it the mascara.
That's as close as I'm gonna get to it.
Is that how they named Themyscira?
The mascara?
Oh my god.
They do have makeup on that island, so
They do, which
Yeah.
I definitely thought was pretty funny, especially because Diana's makeup changes throughout the movie. Her eyeliner shape changes.
yeah, it does.
I'll at the very end shot where she's fighting Ares and she's got like her full top lid lined and a little bit under too, where I was like, well, that's the first time your under eyelid has been like lined.
She's like, hold on, guys.
She's like, hold on, war paint time. Which I don't blame her. That's what I do.
No.
When I'm feeling really shitty one day and I'm like, I need to go into the world like strong today, I put on exceptionally more makeup.
Yep. And actually, I think it did serve like a purpose. But she was so clearly more godlike looking. Which, sorry, Lupin.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting the appearance to sort of melt away. Mm-hmm. And I almost wish his appearance melted away into the armor thing. So you just see that.
I think anything else would have been better than what they did. Because they either needed more money to make the CG look better, or they needed him to be...
Yeah, Ares CG was probably, like, my biggest flaw with the movie. I didn't have, like, again, this isn't...
The only flaws that I have with this movie is the CG. Because, like, for example, when Diana's a small girl and she jumps...
Oh, yeah.
And it's so clearly that she's on a green screen when she's jumping, I'm like... That looks really bad. When Steve Trevor is first flying away after he gets, like, the Dr. Poison's notebook, and he's flying away in that little old-timey plane, I'm like, this looks so fake right now. And then Ares, every time, like, his face was...
They should have just hidden his face at that point.
They should have. Or put the
completely.
actual actor in a mask and then, like, CG'd the mask.
on it.
You know what I mean? The details on the mask. Because it looked like his face was being projected through the mask.
It did.
Which I'm sure is what they did. But I'm like, put more money into this. You only gave this movie
The movie
half of what you gave
had
Man
a
of Steel.
ridiculously small budget.
For an action movie. For a superhero action movie? 120 million?
And it was way better than...
That's it?
Mm.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, because it's the woman's movie.
So
Got
there you
it.
go. But I... Because honestly, there was just like a few times when you're looking at areas where... I get what they were doing, that it's like this evil is just can be anybody.
Right.
But you almost, when he becomes the Ares, you want to see him become this, like,
Yeah.
god. I'm like, you look like Lupin.
Yep.
You're gonna turn into a werewolf.
Ow! Which would look more godlike than what you do now.
So, like, Diana always looked really godlike compared to,
Yes.
like, everybody else. But then when, like, Lupin shows up, and I keep wanting to call him, like, Peter Parker. I feel like Arthur?
I think he might have been...
Peterson? So there's a P in there.
I could not even remember his
This
name.
is the game you play when you listen to this high-quality podcast.
I have no idea what his name was.
Uh,
It might have been Arthur, because...
I feel like Arthur...
But
like
I'm also...
Arthur Parker. That's a stupid name.
I have no idea what his name is. It's okay.
We should just take bets of guessing what everyone's... Because I'm going with Buttercup's name is, like, Antiope. That's...
Well, it's, like, Ethiope.
But I swear it starts with an A. It looks like
It
antelope.
definitely starts with an I when it's spelled
really?
out.
Alright.
Itepoi?
Alright.
Ethiope? I
Alright.
believe is how it's spelled.
Okay, because I just remember seeing a hashtag. I'm like, that looks like the word antelope. But maybe that person just spelled it wrong that I saw it from.
Maybe.
That's very possible. I'm like, is their name Antelope? I'll actually tag an antelope.
At least I think I've seen it written out. Maybe I haven't. I don't know.
this could have come from somebody, like, I follow on Instagram, no, like, official sources. I don't know. I just remember it looked like antelope.
You're crazy.
I was a little surprised that the Amazons never came back. I was like, or never made another appearance.
I mean, I definitely think that they're waiting for other movies, I hope.
Yeah, because they should.
I really want them to come back.
Yeah.
I absolutely do.
And I know Diana technically can't go back. I'm not sure if she...
I feel like she's definitely gone back in comics and stuff that I've read.
Well, the way she phrased it is...
It seemed like you may not come back, like you might die out there.
Yeah, that's what I sure. That's how I read it at first, but then she says it in like a foreboding way, like...
Yeah. Like you're not allowed to come back, but I'm sitting here like, why?
Confusing wording, which might be intentional because...
But why can't she come back? Anybody can just stumble into this island.
Yeah.
You just showed us that they can just accidentally row into here.
Row. Oh, man.
Really, like, the big thing that covered it was just fog.
I guess so.
Got it.
So, we have, I think, a really beautiful, like, romance between Diana and Steve. It was...
Which, again...
So cute.
When it was about to happen, the first time I saw it, I was about to get really mad. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, great. Of course we're going to get, like, a gratuitous sex scene. But instead, it was a beautiful little moment where he, like, watches her, and he's like, is this okay? And
he's, like, leaving, and then...
He's like...
Do I close the door behind me?
Yes.
Yes.
I close the door. I come in. I touch your face.
Yep.
You touch my face? Now we kiss.
No.
And then it fades away, and there's no, like, awkward moment the next day where he's like, guys, I totally had sex with Diana. Oh, where do we stand now? No, it was two consenting adults. They had a moment. We don't even know if they actually had sex. They probably did.
They probably did.
Which is totally fine, because, again, they're two consenting adults.
Yep. And
there's nothing to be wrong. There's, like, nothing wrong with wanting to have sex with each other.
I just want to say, like, my most relatable Diana moment is when she sees a baby. Baby! I'm like, that's me.
Yep.
There you go.
I immediately thought of you the first time I saw that movie.
I want to cry just, like, talking about it. Like, look, she's never seen one.
She's never seen a baby before, and it was a baby crying because it was Thea.
You know, like, oh my god. You just... Poor Diana. And she was like...
She's like, but he's like, no, it's not made out of clay. And you're like, let her hold the baby.
Let her do it. Eat the ice cream. God damn it, Steve. The whole, I love all, like, the comics people have made where it's, like, the Diana no, like, Diana yes. I do whatever I want.
You don't get to tell me what to do, Steve Trevor.
Nope. And then she dies.
Yep.
Very sad.
Yep.
But
it was sweet. It was such a profound moment for him because it did give Diana strength. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't this trope where we see a character die only to progress the main character's story. It was a huge progression for him and everything that he had stood for the entire movie.
The I could save today, but you could save the world. Kill.
Yep.
Kill.
It made sense for everything, like, his character.
That made him such a good character. Like, it's possible to have two really strong people in a romantic relationship. I don't know why everyone thinks it's fucking impossible. Sorry, I'm gonna swear, but I'm passionate about it because it's not.
It's not. These were two equals in a relationship, even though one of them was a god.
Yeah, one of them was a god. But Steve, like, wanted to do this as much as Diana. Mm-hmm. He knew about it, like, the whole time, and he didn't go sacrifice himself for Diana.
No.
Like,
he sacrificed himself for the innocent people that he's always wanted to save this entire time.
Yeah.
And that's why he joined the war, because he was like, I can't sit by and do nothing anymore.
So he still got to, like, have his full, like, character arc and character motivation, and...
It just happened that he's a human, so he couldn't survive an explosion.
Shout out to future, like, superhero girlfriends that are gonna show up. That, guess what? They can still be really capable and have these full arcs on their own and still be a romantic interest.
Yep.
It's all possible if you just believe, like Diana.
If you just care about the characters you're writing, that's all you need to do.
I want Patty Jenkins so badly to direct a Star Wars movie.
I want her to direct a Star Wars movie. I want her to direct the next Batman movie. I want her to direct every superhero movie I go into.
I love the like the message behind, and it's such a Star Warsy message.
Uh-huh.
It's not about what you deserve, it's about what you believe.
Right.
And that's such a good like message to have in these sorts of films.
Yep.
Because a lot of people just get mad about, and they don't understand what compassionate like storylines and stuff
Yeah.
really are. But it's like, no, at the end of the day, it shouldn't be about what these people deserve. It's about what you yourself believe.
Yep.
And that's
I had while you were gone and I saw Wonder Woman for the first time, just talking about how some people just don't understand. I wrote my status, my spoiler-free status on Facebook, being like, love Wonder Woman, not gonna say much, but, you know, I think everyone should go out and see it. And a friend, kind of, someone that I know on Facebook was like, I don't know, we had this back and forth where he was like, well, I don't like he kind of said, like, I don't like watching characters grow. And I was like, uh-huh. He was like, I don't like origin stories. I don't like watching characters grow. I thought that this was really drawn out. I don't like this fish out of water type of tale. And I was like,
so you don't like good stories.
I was like, you don't like narratives then. And he was like, yeah, no, that's probably right. And I was like,
so you don't like good stories?
So you don't like stories? You don't like movies? Why? What?
I hope that person becomes a film critic and be like, this story had too much story.
I'm like, why do you go see movies then? What stories do you enjoy? Do you just enjoy action movies? Like the ones that I'm like, I hate because there's no like narrative to them?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you go see cinematic narratives? That's what movies are. They're narratives. They're just a book put to film. 90% of the time, that's what they're supposed to be. They're stories. What?
I don't know. I think that was a person trying to be edgy because for the most part, a lot of people like Wonder Woman, and they're like, well, I don't like it because it was good.
But I don't... do I think it was a perfect movie? No.
Nothing is.
But do I think it was a masterpiece? Yes, I do.
And
I think it was unlike a lot of things that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
We've never seen a hero movie like this one because
there was so much like heart in it and like love and compassion.
Because even Captain America, which is what people are going to compare these two movies to, while Cap has kind of the same motivations as Wonder Woman, Wonder Woman's story is so much more told in coming from a place of like just deep love for humanity.
Yeah.
Because Cap grew up a human and was constantly like surrounded by humans and knows human nature and stuff. He kind of already knows the bad.
Yeah.
He still wants to protect innocent people, but Dinah wants to save all humans.
Yeah. And she like
even maybe the bad
really
ones.
thought that she could.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, there's only one person that needs to die, and I like that's like and Steve's whole monologue is like, no, it's not just one person. Like, there's a lot of bad people. I'm gonna cry just talking about it. And she's like, no, I don't believe you.
And he's like, maybe sometimes people are just bad, and I wish killing one person could save us all. It's like, gonna get a little political, it's like how I feel about the American government system right now. I'm like, I wish if something just happened to insert person here that would solve everything, but it won't.
Yeah.
Because
there's lots of people
it's
involved.
complicated, and some people are just bad.
Yep. So yeah, is there anything else?
I do want to draw a little bit of attention to Chief, the character Chief.
Yep.
He was played by a Blackfoot Indian. He was entirely in charge of his entire wardrobe.
Oh, really?
The first time he speaks to Diana, he speaks in Blackfoot, and he says, like, he introduces himself as... I'm not going to pretend like I know the character's name, but not the character, the mythological being. He introduces himself as basically Blackfoot's version of Loki, the trickster god.
Oh, really?
And, like, all of that was just that actor. And kudos to Patty for being like, no, yes. I don't know anything about your culture. Please represent yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah. That is really cool.
I really enjoyed it. I didn't know about this, obviously, until I read an article about it. But I'm like, that's fucking sweet.
That is really cool.
So yeah, just kudos to Patty for being respectful and for including that and taking the extra effort when it could have, again, just like everything else in this movie, could have been awful and offensive. But instead she was like, No, I will go the extra mile.
You're just, like, sitting on the edge of your seat waiting for something to be like, ugh!
Yep.
But I thought they did everything really well.
Yep.
And I loved it. So, any last words for you besides go see it if you
Please
haven't?
go see
Even
it.
though you just listened to the whole podcast spoiler free.
Just go see it again.
Mm-hmm.
I would go see it again.
I would too. And
I probably will go see it again. I want to see it again.
Yeah.
I want to own it. I want to watch it every day.
And just the cinematography in it was so beautiful.
It was.
There were so many shots that was like, this. I want a poster of this. I want a poster of this.
Oh my
a poster
God.
Of this. I want a poster of this.
And the actual movie posters themselves are also just beautiful. I love them.
So good. Just, it's great that we have, like, these movies where you have, like, Rey as the Jedi, and then you have Jin, and then you have Wonder Woman, and...
Can you imagine how much money this movie would have made if they actually would have, like, promoted it the way they did Batman vs. Superman and Suicide Squad?
Dude,
can you imagine?
It's still doing really well.
I know, but can you imagine?
Like, not being promoted that well. Like, oh my gosh.
I think that was just the fury of females being like, how dare you not promote this? We are gonna support this. Oh, it turned out to be amazing? Good. What a plus.
It's like, because months ago we heard that it was getting really bad early reviews, so I was really worried. So.
I wonder if maybe they did somehow, like, cut out that trench scene or something. But they must have... I wonder, did they exclude something in the early screenings? Because I do not understand how that could have gotten bad reviews.
I have no idea.
Every single thing I've seen
there
online
were some
has been
reshoots, but did you hear, like, the reshoots? That Gal Gadot was pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
At the time where they had to put a green screen over her belly.
I knew that she was pregnant. That's all I knew.
Like, there you go, green screen belly. I looked like I was pregnant with Kermit.
That's really funny.
It's really cute. So, I think before we sign off, we need to rate the Chris's.
Okay, we need to rate the Chris's.
Alright, I want to hear your rating, because I can't do it.
Okay, so Chris Hemsworth is Thor. Chris... What is Chris's last name?
I want to say Chris Rogers, but that's not him.
Steve Rogers is what you're thinking. Chris...
Oh my god, I can't think of it.
Normally I can name these guys like that.
I know,
but it's early. So, I'm just gonna name them by fictional character.
Yeah.
So, Thor. What's Star-Lord's real name? Peter?
Well, you could just say
Peter.
Star-Lord.
That's true. Star-Lord. I almost said your boyfriend.
You might, Matt, yeah.
Your boyfriend
All right,
who looks
cool.
just like,
He looks like Star-Lord.
And then Captain America, and then Steve Pine. Chris Pine.
Chris
Pine. Steve Pine! Chris Pine is my least favorite Pine.
He's your least favorite Pine?
Yep. I prefer a green tree to Chris Pine.
I prefer the Christmas variety of Pine.
Christmas Pine over the Chris Pine. I am all over the place. Good. Hello, guys. Let me try that again. I got Thor, Star-Lord, Captain America, then Steve Trevor / Captain Kirk.
Because I keep flipping back and forth between, like... Because I think Chris Pine is, like, the funniest. I think he's hysterical. But, like, Captain America is my favorite of, like, the heroes. And then I think, Star-Lord. Why can't I think of any of their names? Why is
Pratt.
Chris Pratt, thank you. Oh my god, this is so bad. What is Captain America's name?
I don't know! I normally know!
Anyway, like, I think he's the cutest, like, sweetest man.
I think he's adorable.
But I think Chris Hemsworth is, like, the hottest.
But I also think he's so funny, too. And I think he's a sweet man. They're all very sweet.
Yeah.
They are.
I do, like, I have my nostalgia with Chris Pine because of, Princess Diaries 2.
Oh, maybe that's why.
And did you never see Princess Diaries 2?
I don't even think I saw the first Princess
Ooh, oh my
Diaries.
god. You're being kicked out. I'm evicting you from this apartment.
You can't evict me!
Are you on the lease? Oh, well, we probably shouldn't say that publicly. I'm like, are you? I don't know.
I am! We have a copy right over there!
But then, so, like, I can't rate them. Like, are you really... I can't do it.
I can easily.
No.
Cap and Thor kind of, like, turn around in my head, but right now, I think just everything that Chris Hemsworth has been doing after Civil War, where he's like, why wasn't Thor in Civil War? Here I am, guys. what about me? I'm gonna make this funny video. And I'm like, oh, he just seems like a sweet man.
Yeah.
He just seems like he's got dad jokes for days.
He does.
I'm like, he's a sweetie.
They're
And
cute
Chris
ones.
Pratt is too funny.
Yeah.
I loved him in Parks and Rec. So, and now he's like,
That-
hey, now I'm this.
My favorite, like, Chris Pratt, like, I mean, obviously his bloopers are hysterical,
Oh
but
my
I
gosh,
love how,
bloopers
like,
are
the writers were so mad at Chris Pratt because they're like, he could come up with stuff, like, 100 times funnier
Than
we
us.
could. Like, and I think this is my favorite joke in Parks and Recreation is when Leslie's sick and she's listing off, and Andy is just like, what are your symptoms? I'll type them in the computer. And he, like, types them in after she says, and he looks at the computer and goes, it says you could have internet connectivity problems. That was an improv joke. And it's such a good joke. But that was, like, the one in particular, like, that's the funniest thing.
I don't even remember that, and I watched all of Parks and Rec. It's like I'm hearing the joke for the first time.
It says here you could have internet connectivity problems.
He's such a smart
Because
man.
apparently, like, because none of the computers were actually connected to
Right.
the internet. That's literally just, he was actually typing it in, and so that's what actually showed up. So he was just like, I'm just going to say it, because that's hysterical.
This is hilarious.
That's my favorite Parks and Rec joke, and it wasn't even written.
I don't, the blooper of the comeback story always gets me. Kim Kardashian? What? She had cum on her back in that video, right? And they're like,
And everyone just kind of standing around me like, well, we can't keep that.
are we allowed to laugh?
We don't know, but anyway, go see
Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. It was great.
It was great.
It was definitely my favorite DC movie, and it actually
Oh, definitely the best DC movie. I think
has
Aquaman
beaten a lot of the I shouldn't say a lot, but up there with the Marvel movies.
Oh,
for
really?
me. Yeah, it's been a few of them.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, I
Not
thought
all of them.
you meant like
Not
like
overall.
money wise that
Oh,
it
no,
had
no,
beat
no.
them, and I was like, really? I'm happy to hear
No,
that.
opening
But
weekend though, it beat Thor and Captain America. Not Captain America. Iron Man. Apparently.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to hear that.
Just
doing
in
that
terms
well.
of opening
Yeah.
weekends, but it was really good. So
I definitely prefer it over some Marvel movies too.
yeah.
Anyway,
And
guys,
thanks for listening.
let us know down below.
Oh yeah, go subscribe to our channel and go leave us a review on iTunes and make us feel special.
For this review, you can leave what Steve Trevor's actual name is. That can be the
No, we
review.
know Chris Pine.
Not, did I say Steve Rogers?
Chris.
What about? Why are there so many Chris's and
Okay,
so many Steves?
It's like a simple last name. Chris. Okay, Chris.
Chris Tucker.
I wanted to say Tucker too. Why do I want to say Tucker?
His name is not Chris
It's
Tucker.
not.
What is his name? Chris.
It's driving me crazy.
Chris.
Oh my god. The last, this is gonna be 10 minutes of us trying to figure out this name. Chris. I want to say Chris Rogers. I thought it. Chris. Starring Chris. Iron Man. Chris. Okay, we have to sign off because I can't think of it. Anyway, guys, I'm CT,
I'm Solo.
and we'll figure out those Chris's later. Bye.
Bye.